In this episode of the Escape Pod, we are covering the shocking case of Helen Golay and Olga Rutterschmidt, two seemingly harmless grandmothers who resorted to murders to live large in L.A.
If ever your life could be a true crime podcast episode, then this podcast is for you. We're about to embark on a roller coaster of emotions, insights, survival, and stories about escape. So buckle up and let the journey begin.
My goodness.
Grandmas.
Grandmas. Were they just old ladies or are they actually grandmas?
TBD, I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't know if I know.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, here we go.
Welcome back to the Escape Pod, podcast about escaping all the things. I'm Charity.
And I'm KB.
It's been a while.
It has been a little
Yeah.
bit. I know it's nice to be back in the podcast studio.
The
Yeah.
padded cell.
Yes.
I know
The
you can
dark
tell
padded
if
cell.
you really look closely. I've been using this padded cell a lot. I'm starting to wear out the walls. You just have to bang your head into something.
That's right.
That's why I don't have any bruising. It's because it's nice and squishy. So
Whatever.
all good.
So what are you escaping this week?
Oh, the trials and tribulations of elder care are coming to an end. No, she's still alive, if you're wondering. But my sweet little mother-in-law moved into assisted living yesterday.
Yes.
Or let me rephrase that. We moved her into assisted living.
Yeah. How did she handle it?
She did everything she could to get out of it.
Okay. Oh yeah, I remember you were even telling me like the maintenance man or something at the
Oh yeah, she
previous
calls
place.
us and she's like, "Well, I thought this got called off," and we're like, "Well, no, you're going." And she's like, "Well, I talked to the maintenance guy at my condo, and he knew nothing about it.
Yeah, so therefore it's not happening.
Therefore, it's not happening." Like, well, it doesn't work that way. So first, she made herself sick, stress vomiting. Then she thought it got postponed, so she didn't have to get anything ready because it got called off. And then the day of, Tim goes to get her, and she was not dressed. She was still in her sweats. She was just eating a sandwich. And he's like, "Get your shoes on. We're going." And then she had a meltdown in the car. But then here's the thing. So yesterday was her first full day.
Yeah.
And she's doing chair exercises, like, guided exercises and sing-alongs, and she's happy.
Yay.
And she has not been happy
Yeah.
since we've moved her.
Yeah.
So I cried happy tears yesterday. I'm just like, so that's, what am I escaping is I know this sounds terrible and petty because she's going through a lot and she doesn't really realize what she's going through.
Yeah.
But to care for somebody like that is
It's a lot.
insanity.
Yeah.
And I get so many calls every day on behalf of her because she can't care for herself in any way, like finances or health issues or scheduling or anything. So I'm the one who gets all the calls for the medical stuff. So my phone rings during work hours and I'm just like,
Yeah, that's added stress.
here we go again. And it's almost always in reference to her.
Yeah.
And so that'll go down and it's just like, phone just needs to stop making noise. You know what I mean? And I can't have my ringer off because she needs that,
Yeah.
I need to be available. So it'll just be different.
Yeah.
It'll be like having a really good daycare for your baby when you don't have to worry about.
Yes.
And I did. I felt like when we moved her in and got her all settled, decked her unit out, it is classy.
Yeah, you were telling me it's pretty posh.
Beautiful. And I did get a little I did this the first time when we first moved her here and I dropped her off at church one morning. It was like dropping my kindergartner off. Like I got a little misty-eyed. And I did that again, leaving her at assisted living. Like, she's tucked in and I'm just like, oh God. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But anyway, she seems really happy.
Good.
And she already has friends there, and she doesn't remember anybody's names yet, of course.
Of course.
But
I'm glad that she's happy and she's having a good time.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be good.
yeah.
So,
One stressor.
Yes.
So what are you escaping?
I think I get two things. Can I say two things?
Let me
I have
think
like
about
three
it.
things. I'll save one for later. But two things is just kind of like getting back into the groove after a Christmas break.
Holidays, yeah.
Yeah, like it's been awesome. The girls are back in school, and everything's fine. You know what I mean? Like all is well, but it's like trying to like get back into the.
It is a little clunky.
Yeah, it is a little clunky, and we're tired this week, because of it. So
I'm hungry this week.
Yeah, well,
because like my schedule's off, so
Yeah.
I've been finding like I shouldn't be hungry, and I'm freaking hungry.
see, and I'm not necessarily hungry this week, but that was my other thing that I'm escaping, is like the last couple of days, and it's female stuff, but it's like I've been so bloated. So bloated. I mean, like,
being a girl.
gosh, to the point where I'm like, can I even
think we
wear,
bloat
like, I need,
easier than
yeah, well, I think we do. And then I think, and I don't always get bloated. I don't know what it is that does it sometimes, but yesterday especially, I was like, I don't even know, like, if I'm going to have to wear a muumuu all day. I didn't, but I was so uncomfortably, like I just felt like, which one is it on Willy Wonka that blows up? Is it
Violet.
Violet? Yes. That's how I felt. Like I just felt like
Veruca.
I don't know.
Veruca salt.
Veruca salt?
Yeah.
I think it's
Started
Veruca.
with a V.
Yeah.
Veruca.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's how I was starting to feel.
She
Like
is
I was
Violet.
like, I am going to like. So to my complaint today that I'm escaping is I've been hanging out in the bathroom. Like I am no longer a water retaining.
Yeah.
I am no longer a water retaining sea cow today.
Okay.
I'm not as bloated, but I am. It's like, what is all this water weight?
Okay, Kate, write that down. I want that on a T-shirt.
No longer a
Water retaining sea cow.
How I felt yesterday.
Water retaining sea cow club.
That was me.
We're gonna sell those. Going on a T-shirt, Kate. Better write it down. Okay.
Are you ready to re-enter the workforce or find a career that actually fits? Or maybe you're an employer tired of noisy platforms that miss the mark? Try Focus, a smarter hiring tool that helps you cut through the noise and focus on what matters. Visit focus.work today. That's FOQUS.WORK.
All right. So talk to me about
We're
these
back to story time.
murderous
So,
grandmas.
Before Christmas, I did a bunch of research into some, because, all the stats show y'all really like murder.
Murder, she wrote.
So I wanted to make it a little more comical.
Thank you.
If we could. It's still horrific, but
They all
you're
are.
going to get some chuckles, I think.
Okay.
Okay, so you ready?
Yes.
This is 1999,
No.
November 8th.
That's not that long ago.
You going to sing it?
No. Oh, no. It's the Prince song, and I don't have the tune in my head. Party like it's.
Say 2000.
I can't. It's not coming.
Party oops, out of time.
She's got it.
All right, so November 8th, 1999. 911.
You should have just kept singing. It's a jazz club. It must be the lighting in here. I did a warm light today because I'm like, I don't like the blue light, and I like the warm light better. But I think maybe it's giving
making
you
me loopy.
Yeah,
I feel like I should be smoking a cigarette and not a drink.
that would be
right.
kind of nice.
Okay,
Not that.
so let's try that again. There were too many nines.
Yeah.
1999 and 911.
Yes,
all
that is
lumped
too
in.
many.
Okay. LAPD department. A man has been found deceased in a dark alley near North La Brea Avenue in Hollywood. So officers arrive. They find the body of an elderly man lying awkwardly on the pavement, obviously not getting back up again. His injuries tell a really disturbing story as they start kind of digging in. And this wasn't someone they can tell first who'd been standing when the car hit him.
Oh.
He'd already been on the ground,
Okay.
prone when the car hit him. And the position of the trauma indicated that he had just been like lying in the road when he was running over. So using fingerprints, they identify him as Paul Vados, a 73-year-old Hungarian immigrant who had come to America in 1956 in search of a better life. Mm-hmm. So Paul had once had a wife, he'd had a family, he'd been stable, but after his wife passed away, he spiraled into depression. He started battling loneliness with alcohol, which usually is never going to have a good outcome. And eventually he ended up on the streets. So just another invisible face in LA's growing homeless population. And the investigation seemed pretty straightforward. There's a homeless man, possibly passed out, maybe drunk in an alley, struck by a car driver who hadn't seen him. So that was their working theory at first blush. So tragic. Unfortunately, it's common. We have it happen here. The toxicology reports, however, told a very different story. There were no drugs or alcohol in Paul's system when he was hit by this car. He had not been passed out. So what had he been doing lying in the middle of the street in the middle of the night? So 2 women come forward, identifying themselves as Paul's next of kin. Helen Golay claimed to be his fiancée, and Olga Rutterschmidt said she was his cousin. And these very well-dressed elderly women explained that they'd recently reported Paul missing and were just devastated by his death. They took possession of his remains. They made arrangements for the burial. They did all the things, and the case was filed away as an unsolved hit and run. Clean cut. 6 years later.
It's amazing to me how, like, I hear these stories, and it's like, I'm assuming it was these 2, you know what I mean, that may have ran him over or whatever. But it's like, they're right there in it, and it's like they're these cute little...
But they're devastated.
I know, they're so... And we're not even going to look at them. Like,
not right now.
No, but it's just amazing to me, like, how quickly, like, the cops are like, yep, all right, we'll just shut that case. It's a hit and run.
They probably had a plate of
Easy peasy.
cookies, a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Okay, so 6 years later, June 21st, 2005, another 911 call comes in. Another alley, this time in Westwood, just off of Westwood Boulevard, another body. Kenneth McDavid was 50 years old, and like Paul Vados, his life had taken a tragic turn. He'd grown up in Northern California. He attended Sacramento State University. He had worked as a talented radio DJ. So he had a good career. But somewhere along the way, he drifted away from his family, away from his career, away from all that stability. And he ended up in L.A., homeless, living on the margins. So when police examined Kenneth's body, they found injuries that were very similar to those of Paul Vados 6 years prior. Severe trauma to his chest and skull, a kind of like crushing injuries that suggested maybe he'd been lying down when the vehicle struck him. What's more, Kenneth's clothing showed grease stains from a car's undercarriage and oil spatter as if he'd been run over by like a low clearance vehicle.
Right.
Not a big truck or something.
Like a Honda Civic.
Yeah, something like that. So Detective Dennis Kilcoyne, he examined the scene and he really like immediately went, like this isn't right. This is not a typical hit and run accident. And then just like before, these 2 women appear like fairy godmothers. Well-dressed older woman arrived at the morgue, introducing herself as Helen Golay. She was also Kenneth McDavid's fiancée.
Oh,
girl
she gets around.
Girl gets around.
And this is a younger guy, huh?
He was 50.
Yeah. How old was she?
In her 70s, I believe.
Oh, my. Yes. Cougar.
She identified... Okay. She identified the body and requested that he be cremated. Then Olga Rutterschmidt shows up at the police station claiming to be Kenneth's cousin and requesting a copy of the police report. Officer Hernandez would later recall how strange it was. Like usually when family members come to the station after a death, they're devastated.
Yeah.
They're in tears. They want to know what happened. They're not asking for a police report. And Rutterschmidt was really cold. She was just really businesslike and emotionless, like she's there to file paperwork or something. And they just thought that was odd.
Strange, yeah.
Not lost her cousin. Maybe
did they come in together or separate?
This one was separate. The
first one was together. Okay.
Yeah. So this case was, even with the suspicions, filed as another unsolved hit and run. Kenneth McDavid was listed in the coroner's report as transient. And so without witnesses, without leads, the investigation just chilled out, cooled down for months. But this time, something was different. There was money involved, and a lot of it. So 2 months after Kenneth's passing, a routine insurance claim landed on the desk of Ed Webster. He was an investigator at Moni Life Insurance Company in New York. The claim was for $500,000, filed by a woman named, you want to guess?
The first lady. What's her
Helen
name?
Golay.
Helen Golay, yes.
Who identified herself as the beneficiary on the policy of Kenneth McDavid. And so Webster begins his routine review like he always does and immediately sees some red flags. Another claim quickly surfaced, also for $500,000, this time with Olga Rutterschmidt as the beneficiary.
On the same dude.
The same dude.
Okay.
So together they were claiming $1 million on policies for a man who was apparently homeless.
That makes zero sense.
Right. The applications listed many inconsistencies. Golay and Rutterschmidt described themselves as McDavid's, quote, business partners and claimed he was a screenwriter. Yet at the police station, they'd represented themselves as his fiance and his cousin. So clearly something's up. Nearly everything on the policies appeared to be falsified, including where McDavid lived and worked. So when Webster tries calling these women to question him, they refuse to speak with him. So he takes his concerns to the LAPD, specifically to that detective Kilcoyne of the robbery homicide division. And the detective was skeptical at first, like two septuagenarians, so in their 80s, right, as murder suspects. Like, it didn't seem credible. But Webster was insistent. And so the detective agreed to look into it, and as fate would have it, while Webster and the detective were discussing the case in the squad room, another detective named Willman overheard their conversation. And those details, like, rang a bell, like body in an alley, run over, blah, 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 two women claiming insurance, whatever. So he goes to his files and he pulls out the case from 1999, which was the Paul Vados case. And same circumstances, same injuries, same two women claiming to be next of kin, and that's when the bells start going off.
Did they have insurance claims on Paul?
I'll get there.
Okay.
So one mysterious death, of course, happenstance. Two identical deaths 6 years apart with the same two women, that's got to be something. So LAPD, FBI, California State Department of Insurance launches a joint investigation, and what they uncovered was mind-blowing. These women had taken out more than 20 insurance policies on both Vados and McDavid, totaling over $5 million in coverage. On Paul Vados alone, there were 8 different policies.
Good grief.
On Kenneth McDavid, 13 policies totaling $3.7 million. Helen Golay had collected over $1.5 million from McDavid's death alone, and Rutterschmidt had received nearly $675,000. So far. But as investigators dug deeper, they discovered something even more chilling. Helen and Olga weren't just opportunists who'd gotten lucky when the two men they knew happened to die in accidents. They were actively seeking out new victims. So surveillance teams got put on these two bags, and they would watch, like, I'm sure mouths.
It sounds like a movie.
It does.
It sounds
It totally does.
like a thriller comedy. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can see, like, Melissa McCarthy and, like, you know what I mean? Like, somebody else as a sidekick. Kristen Wiig, maybe we'll put her in there. But, like, right? Old grannies. I mean, they're not, neither one of those ladies are old, but, just, like, pre-planning all this stuff. And it's, like, the running them over and, like, let's go. Like,
Right.
money. Like, just, yes. And then, like,
That's
vision
what they hear is
them
dollar
throwing it
signs,
around. Yeah. Somebody should, look into that.
I'm sure somebody is. So these surveillance teams are tailing them, and they watch them start to recruit another homeless person. And police knew they had to act right away before someone else got killed. And while they didn't yet have enough evidence for murder charges, they had an airtight case for mail fraud on the insurance side of things. So every time the women had sent falsified insurance documents or payments through the mail, boom, they'd committed a federal crime. So on May 18th, 2006, Helen Golay and Olga Rutterschmidt were arrested. And let's go into now, like, who they were and how these grandmothers became cold-blooded killers. So Helen was born in Texas in 1931, the year my mother-in-law got married. Yes, kidding.
The year your mother-in-law did not get married. She wasn't born yet.
She wasn't born yet. Her childhood was marked by tragedy when her father died in a car accident. She was shuffled between family members before eventually ending up in foster care. I mean, how many times have we heard this story, right?
Yeah.
She was married twice. She had 3 children, so she probably was an actual grandma. And by the 1980s, had settled in Santa Monica, where she started trying her hand at real estate, trying to become By all outward appearances, she had done well for herself. She lived in a bougie $1.5 million home. She owned several rental properties. She drove a Mercedes SUV. Her neighbors described her as friendly and just perfectly harmless. But under that surface, there was something darker. As real estate markets changed and stricter tenant rights made it harder to profit from rental properties, she turned to more nefarious means. Because why not? She would spy on her tenants and extort them for money.
Oh, no.
She filed countless lawsuits against anyone who got between her and what she wanted. Court papers would later describe Helen as having exhibited, quote, 30 years of psychopathic behavior. Ouch. Ouch. You need a womp womp.
Yeah. Womp womp.
Olga was born in Hungary in 1933. As a child, she lived through the horrors of World War II. She was badly injured in a bombing. In 1957, she emigrated to the U.S. with her husband, and together they opened a coffee shop in downtown L.A. After her divorce in the 70s, she moved to Hollywood, living in a small apartment and, funny enough, driving a Honda Civic.
I did. When you said, like, low profile.
Yeah. A stark contrast to Helen's Mercedes in her mansion. Olga's neighbors knew her as temperamental. She was eccentric, someone like you just didn't cross. And when an apartment building handyman once asked her what she did for a living, she replied, I sue people.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And sue people she did. Olga filed multiple lawsuits. She sued a supermarket once, claiming stacked boxes had fallen on her. She sued a lighting company, claiming a lamp fixture had hit her like an atomic bomb. She even sued a coffee shop because a muffin was inedible, and that caused her emotional damage.
Oh, wow.
Cara Beth.
It's like the lady who got the hot coffee from McDonald's and then sued them because it was hot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. In that lighting company lawsuit, Helen Golay appeared as a sympathetic witness, which was really funny. It's unclear exactly when Helen and Olga met. Some reports suggest they encountered each other in the gym in the 1980s. Others say 1990s. But what is clear is that they just clicked. They became inseparable partners in crime. Helen was the brains and the money. Olga was the muscle and the executioner. And together with their bleach-blonde hair, their heavy makeup, they were very flashy, very L.A.
Yeah.
Back then, they were described as the poor man's version of the Gabor sisters.
Okay.
And they were pretty. I mean, one of them, I think, prettier than the other. But in 1997, Helen and Olga began appearing at the Hollywood Presbyterian Church, which ran a program offering meals to homeless men. Pastor Charles Suhayda remembered them well. He said, my first impression of Helen and Olga was good, he later recalled. They were nicely dressed. They didn't talk about volunteering there or serving there at all, but they did express an interest in what we were doing. So the women claimed they wanted to help, and they were looking oddly for specific types of men. Mm-hmm. Men who were down on their luck, men without family connections, men between certain ages. And they offered what seemed like a lifeline. Free housing, they'd put them up in housing. They'd buy them food. They'd help them get back on their feet. All the men had to do was sign a few papers and provide some personal information like their social security numbers, dates of birth, things like that. And so Paul was one of the ones who'd met them at church in 1997. He was also an immigrant like Olga from Hungary, and so he must have felt like a connection to her.
Right.
And the women offered to put him up in one of Helen's apartments, pay his utility bills, and just take care of him. And so for a man who'd been sleeping on the streets, this was like winning the lottery, right? He was battling depression. He was lonely.
Oh,
was
absolutely.
Like a miracle. And plus, you're meeting people through church, so it's got to be okay, right?
Well, yeah, and there's two older women. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
they're just nice people.
Absolutely.
So for 2 years, they played the long game. They played the role of benevolent caretaker. They visited him regularly. They brought him groceries. They offered friendship. But behind his back, they were using a literal rubber stamp of his signature. And they found out, in fact, it was purchased from the Hollywood Rubber Stamp Company under the alias Olga Smith. And they were filling out insurance application after insurance application and filing these things on this man. And they also redirected Paul's Social Security checks to Helen's Santa Monica address. And they made themselves the beneficiaries of his whole life. And then they just waited. How do you do that?
Yeah.
Waited, right? So the 2-year mark was crucial. Most life insurance policies have a contestability period. Mm-hmm. So during the first 2 years, insurance companies can investigate and potentially deny claims for any reason. After 2 years, those policies become much harder to contest. And so the women understood this perfectly. Yeah. On November 8th, 1999, just after that 2-year contestability period had expired, Paul Vados was also expendable. And that's when they did it. So investigators believe the women took him out for an evening, perhaps to dinner, perhaps to see a movie. They likely drugged his food or drink. And when police searched Helen's home years later, they found massive quantities of prescription medication. Ambien, hydrocodone, all kinds of things. He said enough to put an elephant to sleep, and it was all ground into powder.
And so that's why, because it ends up going out of your system. So that's why they couldn't find anything.
Right. Yep.
Boy, these gals did their homework and playing the long game like that. I'm sitting here thinking, like, Yes, psychos. But then also like how wicked do you have to be, or like cold-hearted, or whatever you want to say, that like if you're pretending to take care of somebody for 2 years, how do you not kind of get attached to them?
Well, because psychopaths and I mean,
How do you get two psychopath grandmas together? Like this is amazing.
they find each other. How many stories have we done where these crazy people find each other?
Right.
Like attracts like, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
Misery likes company.
that's right. So they think they drugged him once he was unconscious. They drove him to a dark alley, pushed him out of the car, backed up, got a running start, ran him over.
That's where I was saying, remember? Dunk.
Except they'd win it fast. Win at him fast. So the crushing injuries to his chest and ribs were consistent with this theory. They left him there and drove away, confident it would look like just another hit and run involving a drunk homeless person.
Well, and smart on them, because I feel like, do not take notes. And I don't mean like, I'm being like facetious a little bit, but with the homeless side of it, because it's like, how often do people just, and the cops, and that doesn't have an error, but like how often do they just get disregarded because it's like, well, it's another homeless person dead, like whatever.
It happens.
All the time.
Yeah.
So anyway.
In fact, I won't say who, but one of our partner providers was recently doing a ride-along with our local police department. And this is someone who works in the homelessness space like we do. Mm-hmm. And after that was like, I can see why cops aren't fond of.
Yeah.
Which was a judgment on her part, because I also see them saving people's lives, and, you know, but it does get cumbersome to deal with.
Yes.
The just the
and
public drunkenness. And,
and they can be really mean to the cops.
Yeah.
The people who are living, you know, on the streets and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the other
Violent
day,
even.
In this category in our town, walked into a convenience store, took a hot dog right off of the roller thing, and grabbed a beer or something, and walked out.
Confident.
Down the park.
Yeah.
She went on hammered, absolutely hammered. I mean, they're not in their right minds when they do this stuff, right?
Well, but that's where I've even seen it, like local stores here. Literally, I've been with the girls shopping, and people have walked in, stolen like a backpack, grab a bunch of stuff, walk right back out.
Yeah.
And
they don't get stopped. Yeah.
The alarms are going off, wee, you know, like whatever, because the little tags that they just took off with, and it's like nobody does anything. And they just walk, and the girls were like flabbergasted. They're like, how can he? And I'm like, because for the safety of the store employees, they can't go after him because they don't know if he has a gun or what he's going to do. So for their safety, they just need to stay put. The store is just going to have to like eat it. And by the time the cops get here, he's gone. Anyway.
Okay, so by 2002, Helen and Olga found their next victim. That's when they found Kenneth McDavid, also through this church. Mm-hmm. He was educated. He'd gone to college. Like I said, he'd had a career as a DJ. And the women offered him same deal, apartment, financial support, help getting back on his feet. So he moved into one of Helen's units. And this neighbor, Christina, remembers Kenneth mentioning that two older women, Helen and Olga, were helping him out. But there were strange conditions, she thought. So she saw other people staying in Kenneth's apartment. Olga showed up really mad. She had a key. She let herself in, confronting Kenneth like, you know our arrangement. That's why you can't have anybody living here. So Miss Nice Grandma goes out the window. Kenneth later explains to his neighbor that Olga paid his rent on the condition that no one else could live there. I think that's so when they were ready, they could just...
There was no interference.
Yeah. The women also asked Kenneth to sign a life insurance policy, quote, as an act of good faith, which he did. He thought he was signing one single policy. In reality, between November of 2002 and March of 2003, the woman took out 13 different policies on his life, totaling $3.7 million in coverage. So they did just same thing, rubber stamps of his signature, just like they did with Paul.
So they take the first signature,
have it made,
go down, and they're like, hey, rubber stamp
Hollywood
company.
Rubber Stamp Company, yeah.
Would you just go ahead and it's like, they're like, no questions
That's not
asked.
sketchy at all.
Yeah, they're like, I don't care, $30.
Yeah.
Or maybe they were like, I know exactly what you're doing. That's going to be thousands of dollars. You know what I mean? Like, who knows?
Where's that cut?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or, I'm doing this for my nephew, or, who knows. Little old ladies, they're not murderers.
Right.
Nobody
They're
thinks
not
that.
frauds.
We've covered enough old ladies on this show.
So beware.
I mean, there was the baby farmer, and there was the
lady.
Dorothea Puente.
Yes.
Oh, she was bad.
She was
Mean.
nuts.
Yeah, okay.
She was really mean. I don't like her.
No, horrible. Okay, they even submitted applications under a stolen identity on insurance fraud stuff. Hillary Adler, who was a woman who belonged to the same gym as Helen's daughter. She'd had her purse stolen from a locker in 2003. Inside were her driver's license and social security card. Please, people, for the love of God, do not keep your social security card in your purse.
Like, it's just, not on your
On
person.
your wallet.
Don't put
Just
it on you.
Don't do it.
It doesn't need to be there. Put it in a safe at home and leave it there.
Did I tell you about Christmas?
Yes.
So we had to
Yes.
take Shirley's out of her purse because we've already had to reorder
Yep.
one. Well, then the one that we couldn't find originally mysteriously reappeared from wherever hiding dimension she finds places to hide things. And then, so we took them. Well, she sees where Tim puts it, so she won't take us on at the moment and say, I want that back, that's mine.
Yeah.
She just watches. And then she went and we saw her think she's being sneaky, and she sneaks it back, and she sneaks it back into her purse. So then we had to distract her later and go and take it back out. And sure enough, it was 2 weeks later, she lost her purse.
Like, come on.
Don't. Anyway, so that identification was later used to purchase the murder weapon, which was a 1999 Mercury Sable station wagon
Boy, these gals really.
in Adler's name, though she'd never even met these two. So they literally went into the gym locker room.
Yeah, just randomly.
Stole their handbag and went, score. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Once again, waited for the 2-year contestability period to pass, and then that's when they murdered Kenneth McDavid. Surveillance footage would later show a silver station wagon entering the alley where Kenneth's body would later be found, stopping for 4 minutes, going into reverse, and then accelerating. So they did the same thing. At nearly midnight that night, a call was made from a cell phone registered to Helen's daughter. The caller requested AAA roadside assistance for a disabled Mercury Sable at the corner of Westwood Boulevard and Santa Monica Boulevard, right where Kenneth's body would later be discovered. An hour later, so running over Kenneth had damaged the vehicle's fuel line.
Yeah.
And the tow truck would later identify Helen Golay as his client. So the car was towed to this Helen's Santa Monica home and then abandoned. The next morning, Kenneth's body was found. Helen appeared at the morgue to identify him and request cremation, like I said before. And then that's when Olga went, showing no emotion and wants the...
Yeah, she's like, we've been doing this
I
for
want the
2
paperwork.
years. I'm over it. Like, let's get this show on the road.
I need a payday.
Yeah.
So they thought they had gotten away with it again. But when police searched Helen Golay's Santa Monica home, they hit the jackpot. Helen, it turned out, was a meticulous record keeper. Investigators found boxes upon boxes of documents, records pertaining to Paul and Kenneth and other men that they had been targeting. They found rubber signature stamps. They found massive quantities of prescription drugs. They found notes about the Mercury Sable, which had matched the vehicle that had been seized. Most critically, they tracked down that car. And when forensic examiners processed the car's undercarriage, they found human hair and flesh, and DNA testing confirmed it did come from Kenneth. But perhaps the most damning evidence came from Helen and Olga themselves. After their arrest, police placed them in a holding cell together and secretly recorded their conversation.
Oh, for the love.
And on tape, Olga berates Helen, her frustration and anger pouring out, like, you did all these extra insurances. Olga snaps, that's what raised the suspicion. You can't do that. Stupidity. You're going to jail, honey. They're going to lock you up. You can't have that many insurances. You were greedy. That's the problem. And so Helen was doing some of it behind Olga's back.
Okay.
And that pissed Olga off, right?
Yep.
So as the investigation expanded, police discovered there had been other potential victims. And there was a 48-year-old man named Jimmy Covington. He testified at trial that Olga had approached him, taken him to Burger King for a meal, and promised him housing and assistance. She asked him to sign a few documents and provide a social security number and date of birth. And a few days later, he grew suspicious and moved out. Only later did he learn that the women had already filed a life insurance application on him. An elderly man, 96 years old, had been befriended by Helen's daughter and invited It invited him to move and live in one of Helen's properties. Police believed he was being groomed as another potential victim. I mean, you're really taking a gamble when you start with someone at 96 and you have to wait for the 2 years. I'm just saying. They didn't think maybe that went out. The women had attempted to take out policies on at least 3 other men, but those policies had not been approved. Those men's lives had been saved by bureaucratic paperwork and insurance company skepticism, which is good. Investigators learned about the women's long history of fraud, and together these two perpetrated numerous slip and fall lawsuits against gyms and grocery stores and restaurants and lighting stores. They'd hang out at expensive hotels, posing as wealthy guests, flirting with men, angling for expensive dinners and gifts, sometimes outright robbing them. The trial of Helen and Olga began in March of 2008. The media dubbed the case the Black Widow murders. The defendants' advanced ages kept the story in the headlines, and it challenged every stereotype about serial killers. These weren't young men driven by rage and psychosexual compulsion. These were grandmas in their 70s who had meticulously planned and executed murders for profit. So the prosecution presents a devastating case. There was the forensic evidence, of course, of the DNA under the undercarriage of the car. There were the financial records showing that more than 20 insurance policies worth millions of dollars had been filed. There were the rubber stamps. There were drugs found in the home. There was the surveillance footage of the station wagon. There was the AAA call. Like, it just went on. And then now their jailhouse conversation. So prosecutors showed the jury these crime scene photos and detailed the timeline. Their defense strategies were not very well coordinated, and both lawyers admitted their clients were involved in insurance fraud but denied murder. So Roger John Diamond, who was Helen's attorney, argued that his 77-year-old client was too old and feeble to have committed such physically demanding crimes. And in a stunning move, he suggested that Helen's daughter, who was 44 and physically fit, was actually responsible for Kenneth's murder. And the daughter was never charged and refused to testify or speak to the media. Olga's public defender, Michael Sklar, took a different approach. He portrayed his client as simple-minded and unsophisticated.
Oh, gosh.
Obsessed with the wealthier Helen Golay and essentially a lackey who'd been manipulated by the true mastermind. He essentially threw her right under the bus.
Yep.
Yeah.
I bet she loved that.
Yep. So the strategy of turning them on each other, experts later noted, made the prosecution's job all the easier. Jury sees right through both defenses, and on April 8th of 2008, the verdicts come in. Helen was convicted of first-degree murder in both Paul's and Kenneth's murders, as well as conspiracy to commit murder for financial gain. Olga was convicted of conspiracy to murder Kenneth and first-degree murder of Paul, and after an alternate juror was brought in when the original jury deadlocked, Rutterschmidt was also convicted. The women showed no reaction, as is per usual with psychopaths. As the verdicts were read, Helen sat with her head close to her attorney, reading along as the court clerk went through each charge. And in July of 2008, both women were sentenced to consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole. After the sentencing, Paul's and Kenneth's families were left to grieve. And Kenneth's sister, Sandra, had last seen her brother around 1994. And just a few weeks before his death, he had left her a voicemail. I apologize after all these years of not talking to you, but I want you to know I'm okay. I'm living in Los Angeles. I work for a production company, and everything's going great. It wasn't great, of course. He just wanted her to be at peace.
Yeah.
But that was the last message she got from him. And the attorney representing both families captured the horror of what had happened. She said, "It was so evil and so heartbreaking to think that anyone would decide that the purpose of a homeless human being is to make profit and that their lives mean nothing." So this case also revealed some systemic failures, like had the insurance companies approved more. How did they do this? 20 policies on 2 homeless, unemployed men without raising red flags.
Yeah, somebody wasn't doing their job.
Yeah. The truth is that several companies had denied applications, finding them suspicious.
Oh, I'm sure.
But they didn't do anything like
they didn't red flag anything.
follow through, follow up with it or turn it over to authorities or
Right.
something.
They just kind of dismissed it and was like, no.
Yep.
I wonder if there's a way in the system now, because technology has gotten so much more advanced since 1999. even the early 2000s. But I think like where, as far as insurance companies, so they're not having all this insurance fraud, that they wouldn't have something built in that there is like where you can kind of do like a background search, right? Like, so if I'm going to take out an insurance policy on charity, then the insurance companies will be like, okay, great, fill out the paperwork. And then they do like a background search to see how many other insurance policies are there on Charity Doyle.
That's a great idea.
You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know if that exists.
it should exist. It should. That's silly that it doesn't.
Let's do that.
Okay.
TM.
What are we going to name this one?
Oh, I just had a really bad name in my head.
Don't say it. Okay. Anyway.
So that's the Greedy Grannies.
Are you going to put pictures of these like for the show notes?
Do I have? Oh, I do have pictures. You want to see these two dollies?
These two dollies. Okay. Oh my. Yes, one is prettier than the other. One almost looks,
That's Olga.
That looks like my ex-boyfriend's dad dressed up in.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Bouffant.
That is quite the, oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can just see it in her.
Yeah. Yep.
And she does kind of look like the lackey.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
The muscle.
Totally.
Isn't that funny?
She does, yeah.
Yeah. So those
that
are
is
the
funny.
two Greedy Grannies. Those are their mugshots. And they're still dressed very nicely.
They are.
Yeah.
Hair's perfect.
Yeah.
Like I can see them like fixing their hair with that little like four-toothed like comb,
pick,
you know,
the hair pick.
the little hair pick.
Yeah.
And then like putting on the lipstick before they get out of the vehicle.
Yep.
After they ran them over.
Yep. Oh, wait, I have a hair out of place now.
Yeah. Jeez Louise. That's nutty. My goodness.
I thought that one, I mean, it's terrible, but I thought that one.
It's terrible, but it is terrible. However, I could definitely say, I mean, it's so ridiculous that it's these greedy grannies.
Is this real? It is real.
It sounds like
it really is real.
It sounds like an SNL skit or something. So, but anyway.
Black Widow murders never, I think there's
that did not
opportunity
fit
there. No, it didn't, but that's what they were known as.
Yeah, it should have been the greedy grannies or something.
Grannies, yeah.
Something else, but yeah, Black Widows just doesn't. Somebody missed the mark on that one.
Are you looking for an early morning boost or that midday pick-me-up? Check out the Homebrew Coffee Shop, a coffee shop with a cause on the One Heart campus. At Homebrew, you'll find hope for a home in every cup. It's home to delicious coffee, sweet treats, breakfast, and lunch items. It's a great place to meet friends or host small group meetings. Homebrew is located at 201 Kansas City Street in Rapid City. Open Monday through Friday from 6:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. We'll see you there.
Where do you skip it to after this?
I'm escaping to a simple weekend. We are redoing now that it's winter, even though it's actually really nice.
I know.
Like,
60 degrees,
and when you look at the extended, I mean, it's still really nice.
Today,
but like, so we have house projects that we've started because during the winter, like what else? We're not outside as much, even though we kind of are because it's been so nice. But yeah, so we're kind of trying to find this balance between like spending time outside during the daylight hours and then working on like we just redid the bathroom upstairs. And because we built our house, like 4 years ago. And when you build, it's all like you pick one paint color. Yeah. That's what they do. So now we're kind of like, okay, what do we want this room to be? What do we, Yeah. And so we have a guest bedroom upstairs that is our movie theater room, our entertainment room, if you will. And so we're going to paint that next. We got the bathroom done, and now we'll paint that. And they're going to be the same color. It's called Copper Mountain, and it's beautiful. Like, we love it. So anyway, us. It's like we're kind of like farmhouse, rustic. We collect like antiques and different things. So it totally fits like it totally fits our brand. But it's exciting because it's like just getting the bathroom done last weekend, and now we'll start working on the movie theater room. That kind of lit a little bit of a fire under me. And I know that you were talking about that during December. But I'm like, oh, this feels even more like home. Like it just feels like, this is how it's supposed to be, So now I've been dragging my feet with wanting to start those projects because I think I was tired from all the stuff all the fencing that we had to do. Anyway, so that's what I'm escaping to, which sounds like work, but it's therapeutic, if you will.
No, it's very,
it's fun. It's a project.
Yeah.
So
I like projects.
yeah. What are you escaping to?
All I can think of is packing.
Yeah.
We're heading out of the country,
Yeah.
going to Belize. Cannot wait.
Yeah.
The weather just better cooperate. You will hear me scream from all the way in Central America if it freaking rains. That's all I have to say about that.
As long as those birds are chirping, and they'll even chirp in the rain, and you have like that.
I need sunshine, lady.
I know. See, I like the rain.
And we timed it so that it was after their rainy season. Mm-hmm. It's gorgeous this week, and then it's like going to be rainy next week. I'm like, it better not. It better change. Push it out or bring it forward, but just don't do it while I'm there.
I don't ever like to look at the weather like a week out because it does
Keeps
change.
telling me, stop looking at
Yeah,
it.
because it does change. Like, if it's 2 days, like I'm like, that's fine. But like, yeah, a lot can happen in just a few
I'm just
days.
looking forward to going away.
Yeah.
And
Well,
all right, ready to wrap it up?
Yes. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If this episode made you laugh, cringe,
Cramp.
yeah, whatever. Just,
Vomit in your mouth a
don't
little
keep it
bit.
to yourself. Share it. That's how we are able to reach more people. And we're doing this all for a good cause.
We are. So please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss a launch. Please leave us a 5-star review. It helps other like-minded listeners find us. If you have an escape story of your own, we'd love to hear it. You can drop us a message at escapeartist@escapepod.live. You can also share ideas for future episodes with us at justbecause@escapepod.live. In fact, I wrote down, maybe we should do an episode on roofies and, that kind of a thing. You can also check out our website at escapepod.live for all the past episodes, become a patron of the show, and becoming a patron, it's like, I know people want stuff.
Yeah.
We'll send you stuff. But it's actually your donation is helping fund real people escaping very real crises that we serve here at One Heart. So, yeah.
Yep. So until next time, remember, trauma may be inevitable, but escaping life's messiest moments is way more fun with company. So
stay resilient, keep laughing, and we'll have a brand new story for you
yeah.
next week.
All right.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody.